Well, thanks for tuning in. I'm meteorologist Brandon Lashbrook, and of course, we continue to track the tropics. Currently looking at Hurricane Nigel. We should get that hurricane classification just earlier today, Monday. And you see current satellite showcasing some bursts of convective activity or storm activity near where that center of circulation is. So it is trying to gather an inner core together. As you see, there's no current eye or eye wall present with this storm just yet, but it is trying to get them organized together this evening. And if it can get organized this evening into tomorrow, could see some strengthening with the system, but current winds right now, max winds at 80 miles per hour. Now this storm is well east of Bermuda into the open Atlantic, so that's thankfully good news. So this storm won't impact any areas of land, but current forecast does show it curving off to the north and then northeast, possibly at Category 2 status. But as it begins to move to the north and northeast into the northern part of the Atlantic basin, it's going to begin to weaken a little bit, really speed up, and then won't be an issue much longer as it moves away. So thankfully, Nigel won't be any impacts for any land areas for our area for either as well. But over into the eastern Atlantic, coming off the coast of Africa about midweek or so, looking at a tropical wave going to be moving off the coast there and into this red hatched area where we could see some development of a tropical system overall in the next 7 days. So about 70% chance of development, but not looking at any development over the next 2 days or so. Now with the system, we could possibly see a tropical depression maybe form later this week, maybe by this weekend as well, as it will be moving over into the central Atlantic in a more generally favorable environment with some warm waters and some lower wind shear. So again, plenty of time to watch this system as it comes off of the coast of Africa, but maybe some areas into the Caribbean islands, Leeward Islands. Maybe want to keep an eye on that too as it moves generally toward the west and more westward motion. Now closer to home off the southeast coast of the U.S., we have an area of possible development here in the yellow, about 30% chance of development over the next 7 days. And so with this, what we're looking at is you can see a frontal boundary with these clouds right here. It's more moisture across the area. There's a cold front across the area. You really see that well in the moisture in the atmosphere. A lot of dry air behind that front, and then out in front of that front is going to be a lot more moist air across the area. So this front isn't really going to be moving too much over the next couple days. Here's by Wednesday. It's still going to be near the area, kind of piling up all that moisture. And then you could possibly see a non-tropical low form just off the coast of the eastern seaboard of Florida into the Atlantic. Now again, it will be non-frontal if it does have, or non-tropical rather, as long as it has fronts on it. Now tropical systems are non-frontal systems, so if it has a cold front or a warm front, it's going to be non-frontal, but or non-tropical rather. But as it moves to the north, if it stays over warm waters long enough, it could start to gain some subtropical characteristics and maybe form maybe a weak tropical storm or so as it moves to the north and maybe impacts to the eastern seaboard of the U.S. Now as of right now, nothing has formed yet, but we could possibly see some elevated rain chances along the eastern coast, as well as maybe some gusty winds, maybe some high seas as well across the area over there over to the eastern side of the U.S. But here in Louisiana, here in the Gulf of Mexico, thankfully no tropical threats over the next 7 or so days. And of course, we are in the back half of September now, so that does mean we are in the back half of hurricane season. But again, still plenty of hurricane season to go, even through October and November. But of course, September is where we see typical tropical formations near the central Atlantic and the western Atlantic as well. Here's where about Nigel is right about now. And so again, plenty of time to watch the tropics as we continue to go further through hurricane season. And of course, we'll always keep you up to date on air and online at brproud.com.